When I asked what time the baby's 1-year birthday party was, my son said, "Oh, we had it yesterday." My name is Patricia Coleman. I'm 62 years old, and I've spent the last year watching my granddaughter Sophie grow up through photographs on my daughter-in-law's Instagram. Not in person, through photographs. Filtered, perfectly composed photographs that show every smile, every milestone, every precious moment I wasn't invited to witness. Before we dive into today's story, please hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. This story is about being forgotten, finding your worth, and what happens when a grandmother stops begging for crumbs. Trust me, you won't believe how this ends. Last Tuesday, I called my son Brian to ask what time Sophie's first birthday party started. I'd already bought the gift, a beautiful handmade wooden toy kitchen I'd spent weeks researching. I've cleared my weekend. I'd even practiced singing Happy Birthday with the enthusiasm grandmothers are supposed to have. "Oh," Brian said, his voice going flat. "We had it yesterday, Mom. It was just a small thing." The silence on my end must have been deafening because he quickly added, "Chelsea thought it would be less stressful with fewer people." You understand. I understood perfectly. I understood that my granddaughter's first birthday party had happened without me. I understood that I hadn't been worth a phone call, a text, even a last-minute invitation. I understood that fewer people meant everyone except me. What Brian didn't understand was that 3 months ago, I put $25,000 into a $529 college fund for Sophie. The account I'd opened in my name as custodian, with Sophie as beneficiary. The account only I could access or modify. What he also didn't understand was that last year, when Chelsea's photography business was failing, I co-signed a $15,000 business loan so she could upgrade her equipment. The loan that still showed up on my credit report every month. The loan with my name legally attached. I sat in my kitchen after that phone call, the wooden toy kitchen still in its wrapping paper on my table, and I realized something. I'd been funding a family that didn't want me in it. The next morning, I drove to my bank and met with Teresa, the financial advisor who'd helped me set up Sophie's college fund. "I want to change the beneficiary," I said. Teresa looked surprised. "From your granddaughter? Are you sure?" "Completely sure. I want to set up a scholarship fund instead, for underprivileged children in the community. The full $25,000. "Mrs. Coleman, that's very generous. But have you discussed this with your son?" "My son," I said carefully, "didn't discuss his daughter's first birthday party with me. We're even." Next, I called the bank that held Chelsea's business loan. I explained I wanted to explore my options as a co-signer on a loan where payments had been late 3 times in the past 6 months. The loan officer was sympathetic. "As co-signer, you have the right to make payments yourself to protect your credit, or you can request to be removed if the primary borrower refinances. What happens if I demand they refinance to remove me? They need to qualify on their own. Given the payment history, that might be difficult. Send them a letter," I said. That evening, Chelsea called. Not Brian. "Chelsea. Patricia, what is this about the loan? We can't refinance right now. Brian's between contracts, and my business is finally starting to pick up." "Then you should have thought about that before having my granddaughter's birthday party without telling me. It wasn't personal. We just wanted something intimate." 50 people, Chelsea. I counted them in your Instagram photos. 50 people is not intimate. It's just exclusive. And I was the one excluded. You're being ridiculous. You're going to destroy our business over one party." "No," I said calmly. "I'm protecting my credit and my dignity. You have 60 days to refinance, or I'll start making the payments myself and adding them to what you owe me." She hung up. Within an hour, Brian was calling. "Mom, you can't do this. Chelsea's business is just getting stable." "Really?" "Because the bank says she's missed 3 payments. That doesn't sound stable. That sounds like my credit score taking hits for someone who couldn't even invite me to my granddaughter's first birthday. It was one party." "No, Brian. It was the baptism I learned about on Facebook. It was the 6-month photos I saw on Instagram. It was every Sunday dinner I wasn't invited to. It was a year of being erased from Sophie's life while funding her future. What do you want from us?" The question hung there. What do I want? I want you to understand that respect isn't optional, and money without respect is just enabling. I I hung up before he could respond. The next week was silent. No calls, no texts, no apologies. I spent the time volunteering at the community center, helping seniors navigate technology. I taught Mrs. Chun how to video call her grandson in California. I helped Mr. Peterson set up his first email account to stay in touch with his daughter in Phoenix. These weren't my grandchildren, but they were someone's family, and I was helping bridge gaps instead of funding them. On Sunday evening, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Chelsea standing there alone, and for the first time since I'd known her, she looked uncertain. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. We sat in my living room, and she twisted her hands in her lap. "I owe you an apology." "Yes, you do. When I married Brian, I think I saw you as competition. For his attention, for his time. And when Sophie was born, it got worse. I wanted to be the center of her world, and I thought that meant pushing you to the edges. So you pushed me out completely." I did, and I convinced Brian it was normal, that we needed space to be our own family. I didn't realize until you pulled the loan that you weren't just Brian's mom. You were also the person keeping us afloat financially. Money isn't why I wanted to be in Sophie's life. I know that now, but I didn't then. I thought you were just another demanding mother-in-law. I didn't see that you were just trying to love your granddaughter. Tears were running down her face now, real ones, not performative. The loan letter terrified me. Not because of the money, though that too, but because I realized that if we lost the business, it would be my fault. My pride, my insecurity, my need to control everything. What changed? Brian's sister called me. We've never been close, but she told me about when you raised him alone after his father died. About the 2 jobs, the night shifts, the sacrifices. She said you never asked him to be grateful, never held it over him. You just loved him. Chelsea wiped her eyes. She said I was an idiot for pushing away someone who loved Sophie the same way. And she was right. I sat with that for a moment. "What do you want, Chelsea?" "I want to fix this. I want Sophie to know her grandmother. I want Sunday dinners where you're actually invited. I want to stop performing a perfect life on Instagram and just live a real one that includes you. And the loan, we'll figure it out, even if it means I work extra sessions, cut expenses, whatever it takes. You shouldn't have to carry our debt while we exclude you from our family." Something in me softened just slightly. I changed Sophie's college fund. It's in a scholarship program now. Chelsea nodded slowly. "I deserve that. But maybe, if we can prove to you that we've changed, you'd consider starting a new one? Even something small. I'd rather Sophie had a grandmother who chose to invest in her future than money from someone we treated like a checkbook. That's going to take time. I know, but we have time. Sophie's only one. We have years to show you we mean it." After Chelsea left, I sat in my living room for a long time. Forgiveness isn't a switch you flip. It's a door you open slowly, carefully, watching to see if the person on the other side is really willing to change. 2 weeks later, I received a text from Brian. "Sunday dinner at 5. Just us. Please come." I almost said no, but then I thought about Sophie, about the year I'd missed, about all the firsts I'd seen through a screen. I showed up at 4:55 with a bottle of wine and low expectations. Sophie was in her high chair, smashing banana into her hair. She looked at me with wide eyes, this little person I'd only held a handful of times. "Hey, Sophie," I said softly. "I'm your grandma, Pat." She smiled, banana-covered and perfect. Dinner was awkward at first. Brian and Chelsea tried too hard, over-explaining everything, walking on eggshells. But then Sophie threw a piece of bread at Brian's head, and we all laughed, and something loosened. "I want to show you something," Chelsea said after dinner. She pulled out her phone and opened Instagram. "I'm deleting this. All of it. I've been performing motherhood for strangers instead of living it with family. You don't have to do that." "Yes, I do. This app made me think life was about perfect photos and likes. But you taught me it's about showing up. So I'm showing up. No filters." Over the next few months, Sunday dinners became routine. Not every week, sometimes life got in the way, but consistently. Honestly, I watched Sophie take her first steps in their living room, not through a video sent 3 days later. I was there for the mess, the chaos, the unglamorous reality of raising a toddler. The business loan got refinanced eventually. Chelsea's photography business grew, but this time she asked for advice instead of just money. Brian got a steady contract. They paid their bills on time. And 6 months after that doorbell conversation, Chelsea asked if I'd be interested in being Sophie's regular babysitter 1 day a week. I can't pay much, she admitted, but I trust you with her, and I think Sophie should spend real time with her grandmother. I don't need payment. I just need to be included. You're included. Your family. On Sophie's second birthday, I arrived early to help set up. It was a small party this time, truly small. Just grandparents on both sides, a few close friends, and Sophie covered in cake. When we sang Happy Birthday, Sophie looked at me and clapped, and Chelsea caught my eye across the table and mouthed, "Thank you." Not for the money I'd spent or the loan I'd threatened, but for not giving up, for drawing a line that forced them to see what they were losing. I learned something in those dark months after that phone call. Love without boundaries isn't love. It's enabling. It's allowing yourself to be erased while calling it sacrifice. My daughter-in-law needed to learn that families are built on respect, not just biology. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to stop funding dysfunction and start demanding dignity. The college fund? I restarted on Sophie's second birthday. Small monthly deposits, nothing extravagant. But this time it felt different. This time, I wasn't buying access to my granddaughter's life. I was investing in a relationship that actually existed. As I drove home that evening, I thought about all the grandmothers I'd met at the community center. The ones showing me photos of grandchildren they never see. The ones sending money to kids who never call. I'd almost become one of them. A checkbook with a heartbeat, valued for deposits but not presents. Instead, I'd become something else. A grandmother who taught her family that love is a verb, not a transaction. That showing up matters more than paying up. That the first person you owe respect to is yourself. Sophie will grow up knowing her grandma Pat. Not through Instagram filters, but through Sunday dinners and shared laughter and the knowledge that family is something you build with intention, not something you take for granted. And when she's old enough, I'll tell her about her first birthday, about the party I missed and the boundary I drew, and how sometimes love means saying no until someone learns to say please. Thank you for watching this powerful story. If it moved you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been excluded by your own family? How did you handle it? Let's have an honest conversation. Until next time, remember, never shrink yourself to fit into spaces that don't value your presence.